Hello everybody and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, where I just realized that we don't have much of a relay satellite in orbit of Kerbin right now. We've got like our Santa Spy satellite, which I think has a crappy relay antenna on it. It's pretty dated at this point. It was good when we had it, or when we built that, but at this point our tech has somewhat advanced. So I think that we should probably consider putting up a long-range comsat in Kerbin orbit as well very, very quickly. That should not take long at all, and then we can get started on putting our satellite over Moho, which I'm going to put it in the 10-kilometer or lowest safe orbit, as we mentioned that the contract has, but then we'll probably raise it up afterwards and use it as a communications satellite as a backup. So that'll be the idea there. We're probably just going to, well, we're going to have to make a modification of our long-range comsat for sure to do that. But I think for now we're going to do the Kerbin one really quick. We definitely don't need this intermediary stage for the Kerbin one. So we're going to ditch everything that is here. That all goes away, and we do something like this. For Kerbin, we don't need this much fuel on the side tanks as well. So what do we have in this stage for thrust to weight? That's 1.7. Can we just straight up get rid of these side tanks and like save this as the short range comsat? What would that look like? This should be fine. Yeah, this should be more than fine. So I'm going to call this the short range comsat. This is still going to be like wild overkill. And we're just going to put this up as is very, very quickly here in a polar orbit, a maximal polar orbit. I don't really care what polar orbit, but we're going to head off to the north here, and that'll be fine. So we're not going to be doing our usual east side turn to take advantage of the rotation of Kerbin. We're going to be heading to the north, and that will make things a little bit more Delta V intensive, but to be honest, it's not that much more Delta V intensive. So off we go with our very stripped down rocket here. Much higher thrust to weight. I like it. And what kind of an apoapsis are we targeting for this? It kind of doesn't matter to a certain degree. To a certain degree, it doesn't matter. And we don't need to hit a perfect orbit here. I'm just trying to get a very, very quick comsat up here so that we can hopefully get working on the contract yet this episode. That's the idea here. So we're going to head on through, heading off to the north. This thing really doesn't want to go north. Okay, that's exciting. We're going to sit here at the 45-degree marker for a bit here. It's very wobbly. Definitely trying to pull off to the side. Okay. Well, we're just going to park here for right now. This'll do. Apoapsis height doesn't honestly matter here. As long as we're, you know, not going to be recaptured by the atmosphere. So I think we're going to park here until such a time as we're at, like, say, 1,000 meters per second. There we go. And now just head on over to the horizon. Yeah, that's about right. That's about 50 kilometers. I like it. So we're just going to park right about here. Beautiful. And off we go to the north. Definitely moving over some populated areas. I'm sure this is very safe. I'm sure it's incredibly safe. Excellent. So I think we'll target an apoapsis. Well, really, the apoapsis height doesn't matter. It really, really, really doesn't. We'll go for like 250. I don't know. We're going to be increasing this anyway. So something like that. And then once we reach this apoapsis, we're just going to add a maneuver and we're going to push that out until we almost achieve escape velocity. Almost. I really don't care what orbit this is as long as it's a polar orbit that is basically a maximal orbit like this, right? So like, can we get to 80 million meters here? What is the actual escape? Okay, like 83. I think 80 is fine. So we'll target something along the lines... Ooh, that's pretty close. We'll target something along the lines of that. Beautiful. At this point, we can definitely ditch our fairing. And the majority of the fuel for this burn is going to be coming from this tank. So we're going to have more than enough DV to make this happen. We're in space now. Let's extend our solar panels. Excellent. And we'll just slowly rotate on over here. This burn is going to be in about 9 minutes, and then we're going to want to circularize this after that. But that should not be a very difficult maneuver. So that'll be absolutely fine. Beautiful. And yeah, as we pass over the pole there, some weirdness happens with our heading. No surprises there, but that's absolutely fine. We're going to continue to warp over here. 20 seconds. 10. And 3, 2, 1, mark. Cool. So this entire tank is going to get burned out here. No shockers there. And this apoapsis gets pushed right on up. We are in orbit now, but we're not in quite the orbit that I'd like to be in. Okay. 10.7 meters per second. We actually aren't going to quite burn this whole thing out, are we? Interesting. This is good enough here. Yeah. We've overshot slightly, but that's okay. We have plenty of margin for it. So we then just circularize this. That's an escape velocity. Okay. That's interesting. I didn't expect that to be an escape. Do we have slightly wrong timing here, probably? Yes. Slightly wrong timing. Cool. And then we just look to circularize it about like this. That'll do. More than good enough. Excellent. So let's physics warp our way over here. We've got 80 meters per second left in this tank. Hilarious. And we're just going to freeze those physics and head on up. That burn's going to be in about 20 days, but that's fine. We'll warp on over. Goodbye, Kerbin. Hello, Moon. Okay. So we are just coasting on over. This is a very elliptical orbit right now, but I want to have it be a circular orbit, polar, and very, very big. So this will give us a relay connection to, like, well, to our Eve satellite, and we can do the same around Moho. That'll be the idea here. Still 7 days on this warp. Wow. Oh, we're on 10,000 time. That would do it. 3 more days. 2 days. 1 day, and you can see just how slow our orbit is here. Okay. So we're going to commence this burn shortly. 40 seconds. 30. 20, 10, and 5 seconds. Okay, this is a pure prograde burn. 3, 2, 1, and mark. And off we go. Cool. Just watching this number here. That'll do. And this is more than good enough. So at this point, we've got ourselves our short-range comsat over Kerbin. And that'll definitely do. That will be able to connect to our connection at Eve a little bit easier than some of our other things in theory. And then Moho will be able to transfer to Eve, which then transfers to Kerbin, or potentially directly to Kerbin, depending on where the orbits are. So that'll be absolutely fine. At this point, I'm not reverting this. No, we're going to go back to the Space Center, and we are going to work on our contract to go to Moho here. So we're going to base this off of our long-range comsat. The main thing that we need on this is 6 science units. That is a lot of science units. It doesn't state that they can't be repeated. I will try not to repeat them, though. I think we can do 6. So we're going to need to base this not off of the short-range comsat, but off of the long-range comsat. So, L's. Here we go. L. This is going to be a little bit more expensive, for sure, and a little taller here. We'll probably have to redo the fairing. But for now, we'll put in a Science Junior as one of our science modules. And then we'll put in a payload bay here. So, a service bay. Beautiful. I'm going to rotate that service bay. There we go. And inside of this service bay, we're going to include a few extra science modules. So, a seismic accelerometer, this thing is never going to touch the ground. In theory, we don't need a seismic accelerometer. A thermometer, on the other hand, That would be absolutely fine. Atmospheric fluid spectrovariometer. In theory, we're never going to be entering an atmosphere. Does Moho even have a tenuous atmosphere? I mean, in terms of, like, in-game mechanics. I don't think it does in-game. It definitely does, like, in lore, but that's fine. A negative gravioli detector we're absolutely going to bring. No doubt about that. So that puts us at 3 science units. We need 3 additional. A mystery goo makes a lot of sense to bring, so that's 4. Beyond that, there's a press map barometer, which we can actually do the atmospheric pressure scans near there to see if there's an orbit or if there's an atmosphere. No point in bringing this if we're not going to land, and this if we don't know if there's an atmosphere or not. But that puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Beyond that, we can do a magnetometer boom. So a magnetometer can be attached, say, here. Kind of like that. Now we're going to have to redo our fairing. We're a little taller now, so we will need to edit this fairing and continue to bring it up like so. Like that. That should do the trick. Beautiful. It'll be a little smaller Delta V, but we know that it was mass overkill in the Delta V to get this to Eve. Moho isn't that much further, so it should be fine. Actually, Moho is a decent amount further. But we've got a lot of Delta V here, for sure. I think we have enough. So I'm not going to save this as a long-range comsat. I'm going to save this as the 4T4T Life Research Probe. 4T4T Life Research Probe. Cool. So we'll save that, and let's launch this thing. I want to get off the ground and headed to Moho this episode. Can we get there this episode? Potentially. We're going to have some probably pretty hefty time warps in there, so that's going to be spicy. But I think that we can probably do it. We've got a decent amount of time left here. It's definitely going to be an equatorial eastward launch. No doubt about that. We do not want this thing going polar. How are we doing for... Oh, yes. There's some issues here. We're going to have to modify that a little bit. That's fine. A 1.49, ever so slightly heavier, but it should be okay. We know that we had a lot of headroom. That was 6, right? I'm fairly certain that was 6. I guess we'll find out once we get to space. That's an exciting way to do things. I'm pretty sure that was 6. Surely I didn't launch with 5. If I did, we'll go to space and find out and abort this. Hopefully that's not the case. If so, it's entirely my own fault. There's no reverting it. But yeah, that's an exciting one. A lot easier to go eastward here. Not having any attempts to pull us horizontal. I like it. As usual, I'm just going to head on over here, park at 45 degrees, until such a time as we see an apoapsis of about 50 kilometers, which seems to be about 1,000 meters per second. I just want to have some additional altitude here, make sure that we're punching out. We're going to be fine. Cool. Yeah, we definitely need some additional speed here, going at about 700 meters per second right now. We could almost certainly head over to the horizon at this moment, but it's fine. Okay, side boosters. I was going to say SRBs, but side boosters popping off now. We weren't exactly at prograde. We could have lost those fins there. That would have been definitely problematic. But we're going to head on over now that we no longer have our side boosters. We're just going to head on right over here. Cool. Horizontal speed, let's go. Yeah, we've got some vertical drag going on, but it should be fine. We don't care that much about vertical speed at this point. Apoapsis of 61 kilometers, it's fine. We need horizontal speed at this moment. And so that is exactly what we're getting. 64 kilometers. We're not pushing up our apoapsis all that much, but at these velocities, that is to be expected. About to hit 50 kilometers. Let's go ahead and deploy our fairing so that we no longer have to carry that weight. Yeah, we have the magnetometer on here. We have the Science Junior, so that's 2. And then in here, we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. So we definitely have 6. Good. Just wanted to make sure of that one. We could target like 100-kilometer apoapsis here. That's fine. We're definitely getting close to orbital velocities. Very, very close. And that's 100 kilometers. Beautiful. So from here, let's just circularize that. And we'll see if we're in a good position for a moon slingshot. Always good to save that extra, like, 50 delta V. It's not, strictly speaking, necessary. It's not a lot of DV, that's for sure. But it's fine. So we're going to extend these solar panels as soon as we hit space here in about 1 additional kilometer. And we should be rotating over. Okay. We're now officially in space. And we're very slowly trying to rotate. Oh yeah, I said that I was going to add a reaction wheel here. I definitely did not do that. Let's physics warp as we rotate. It's manageable. It's just slightly slow. Okay. Nearly in position for this burn. And we're warping. Cool. We could grab a gravity scan here. That's absolutely fine to do. Actually, do want to show the results window because we're going to want to transmit these data back, right? So that'll be fine. The gravity scan is this guy. So we're going to review that data. Do we transmit it back right now? We should have the power for that, right? Yeah, we should have the power, I think. 50% done. 70, 80, 90, and done. Beautiful. We can actually do it again. I'm not going to do it again until after our our burn here. We've got about 10 seconds until this burn begins. And now. Beautiful. And we're charging back up due to our alternator on our engine. There we go. We are pretty much in orbit here. Yeah, that'll do. Cool. So we could grab another gravity scan. I'm going to wait on that until we are in daylight. Okay, so let's not set that as our target. No. Unset target. Thanks. We're going to add a maneuver around here and see if we're in a position for a good gravity assist. I mean, that's kind of mediocre. This, on the other hand, if it wasn't, you know, an impact trajectory, that would be pretty good. So let's see what we've got there. Can we back off on this and have it not be an impact trajectory? This seems absolutely fine. I like it. So at this point, we can grab a bunch of gravity scans, right? And we're going to want to transmit those back. But we don't have the electric charge. So we're going to wait until daylight comes up here. But this burn is going to start in like 2 minutes. We really should be rotating over. Ooh, there's an eclipse. Okay, so we just don't have power. We can always grab these gravity scans with another craft. This is Kerbin. I'm not concerned about that. So that's fine. We did get some science back from it already, but we're going to just continue to warp a bit here. We should be getting sunlight here fairly soon. Warping ahead about another minute. 30 seconds. 20. 10. And now we are getting daylight, so that's good. And commencing the burn. Cool. Okay, so we need about another 20 seconds of burn here. We are going to be burning off this entire stage, which is good. That's exactly what we want. We can see that we are pretty much full up on electric charge. I'm going to grab this gravity scan and transmit that back. As long as we're here and we have the charge. Okay. And off we go on our vacuum optimized engine. 0.2 meters per second. How's that looking? That is not a collision course, and we do escape. Beautiful. So that looks good. We'll grab this gravity scan, and we will transmit this back. We should probably set this to allow partial. There we go. Yep, SAS is disengaged, but that's fine for now. We'll continue to warp our way through. 2 data received. Yep. Not enough electric charge. Fully expected. We're transmitting back what we can. But we're going to have a lot more power flow later. So that's fine. Okay, we're building up this electric charge. We've already got partial data on this gravity scan. And if we were to do this... Yeah, transmit is not worth any science. So that's fine. We are going back into the eclipse, hilariously. We've got in space high here. I'm going to grab the gravity scan. We're just going to keep it for the moment. Until the eclipse is over here. There we go. And now we can send this on back. So that'll be worth 16.8 science. Beautiful. And yes, it'll take a little bit to transmit due to our power. But this is completely fine. Cool. And I don't think this is differentiated by biome for in space high. So that'll be great. At this point, we're going to warp on over to the moon, which is, of course, going to fill up our electric charge. Actually, it is differentiated by biome, isn't it? That's interesting. Regardless, we can always get that data later. This is only Kerbin. So we're going to transmit this on back. Cool. 60 data received there. And we'll continue to warp on by. I'll allow it to stop the warp. And we'll transmit that. Cool. So that's Midlands done. What else do we have here? Highlands. Transmit that. Cool. Our electric charge is regenerated now. Midlands we've already got. Craters. Specifically Midland craters. Excellent. That data is transmitted now. What else do we have? Midlands are already done. Lowlands. Cool. Do it. Okay, just keep warping here. That's all Midlands, Lowlands, Midlands. It's stopping the time warp because we don't have the full science from this, but we have as much as we're going to get from transmitted science. So that's fine for now. We'll grab some more Kerbin ones on the way out. Lowlands, Midlands, Highlands. We probably... Oh, there's the East Farside crater. We'll definitely transmit that on over. Beautiful. Anything else here? Highlands. Are we going to get into in-space low here? I don't know. We might dip in. Oh, apparently we don't have some of these. I kept that data. I meant to transmit. There we go. That's interesting. That changed when we stopped warping. Okay, we'll grab that data. This is getting us a lot of power, or rather a lot of data, right? So that's absolutely fine. But this is not the primary mission here. Transmit that. This is all secondary data that we're getting here. So that's excellent. Okay. East Crater. Transmit that. 22 science. I like it. We did get a lot of science out of that already. And we're going to get a lot more out of this thing. Cool. That's Lowlands. We're probably not going to get too much else here from this flyby. Midlands there. Lowlands there. Midlands. And transitioning back over to Kerbin, I bet. Yep. Okay, so that's over Kerbin's water. Shores. We'll grab that. There's a lot of data from these, right? We have to transmit 60 MITs of data, which does cost a lot of electric charge. No doubt about that, but we're able to do this in a quasi-economical way here. specifically in that it recharges quickly enough. Okay, so that's deserts, highlands. This is definitely going to be a bit of a process here. I didn't anticipate this portion being a bit of a process. It is about time to put a cut in here, and we've barely started on this. So that's kind of exciting. But, I mean, this is our first time using the negative gravioli detector, apparently. So that's absolutely great. Okay. Where are we in our orbit here? Okay, we're definitely going to be having fewer biomes soon. Ooh, hello, Badlands. We'll transmit that. What else do we have here? Yeah, we're definitely going to be having fewer soon. It's mostly the rotation at this point that's putting us into new biomes, I think. That's absolutely fine. Mountains, highlands. I think we had the mountains, right? I don't actually know that. It doesn't matter that much. This is all secondary. All of this is secondary. Kerbin's water, Kerbin's shores. We should be escaping kinda soonish. Deserts. Highlands. Mountains. We did indeed have mountains. Cool. Kerbin's grasslands. Yup. All of this is fine. I think we have everything that we're going to here. In all honesty. So I don't think we're going to get anything else here. Let's just warp on out of here. So let's head on over to around here. I say as we're probably going to get something else here, but it doesn't matter that much. We haven't yet. It's over half of the distance. No, that looks good. We're now over Kerbal at this point. I'm not going to do mystery goo or material study over Kerbal. We will definitely transmit the gravity scan. We're not going to get in space low over Kerbal, I can tell you that. And it also doesn't have biomes, so that's all fine. SAS is going to go on. And at this point, we're going to go ahead and put that cut in here. And next episode, we're going to head on over to Moho and send back some science and put this in position as a communication satellite. This is so much overkill in the fuel. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, James, Shadow Wolf, MLohan80, Rogue Corvid, Kentogan, Andy Magar, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, Soccerman12UK, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.